Because the reality is that fossil fuels cut and sever our relationship with the earth. However, after our speaker gives the presentation, we will tie the strings together to represent how there is a solution to this problem. There is clean energy in the form of solar power, wind power, and other renewable energies.
Pope Francis is not one to shy away from the topic of global climate change. He has released a 180-page document called Laudato Si, or Be Praised. He calls for the faith believers to reduce our carbon footprint and to think of the climate as a common good for all.
Global warming may not seem like a threat that many of you face on a daily basis, but for the poor, this is a huge burden that simply cannot be avoided.
And about a year ago, a referendum took place in student support of implementing solar electricity at St. Edward's. Overwhelmingly, students favored renewable energy efforts on campus.
Climate change is negatively impacting many Latin American countries. Latin American countries are heating up and are having long periods of droughts. This directly impacts families through making land uninhabitable and killing crops.
Agriculture in developing countries will suffer disproportionately from climate change. In Pope Francis's environmental encyclical, he writes, "The warming caused by huge consumption on the part of some rich countries has repercussions on the poorest areas in the world."
One of the things I noticed when I transferred was the mission statement that says take on our world. And well, from what I've learned in all my courses, I can tell you that we cannot take on our world without actually taking care of our world.
The prevalence of fossil fuels in our entire economy is an injustice we can no longer afford to ignore. If we continue to support such a dangerous industry, we would not hold true to our Holy Cross values. Fossil fuels disproportionately affect communities of color. Coal plants disproportionately affect communities of color because they expose these communities to high levels of pollutants due to the proximity that the plants are to these neighborhoods.
Through the continual release of greenhouse gases by fossil fuel production, excess CO2 in the atmosphere is being absorbed straight into the oceans. You're probably wondering, why would a waste product affect something that is separated from land, and why should we care? The ocean absorbs 26% of the CO2 added to the air by human activities each year.
At this very moment, the Arctic is melting at incredible rates, and the only home for polar bears is being lost and cannot be restored. In addition to the pollution in the air, land disturbance from the natural gas also destroys and endangers many animals.
We are a Holy Cross institution. As such, we should be willing to step up where we see injustice. While we might not automatically associate clean energy with service, I often think about the island nations that suffer from severe flooding. Coastal communities in the island of Kiribati, whose flag is featured on this tree right here, lose their homes, their agriculture, and their way of life because of the ocean sea level that's been rising constantly.
We as students need to rise up today to hold up this university's mission. The need to recognize our responsibility to a global community. The courage to invest in renewable energy in a state that is dominated by dirty fuel industries. The compassion and stewardship it takes to do what we can with the privilege we have. We all stand here together to say our environment matters, but we aren't truly stewards of the environment if we aren't stewards of human health and basic human rights. And we can't be stewards of human health and basic human rights if we give our money to organizations that destroy the voices of our indigenous communities, destroy our land, and poison our people.
When I say solar, you say power. Solar.
Power.
Solar.
Power.
When I say wind, you say power. Wind.
Power.
Wind.
Power.
When I say student, you say power. Student.
Power.
Student.
Power.
When I say solar, you say hilltop. Solar.
Hilltop.
Solar.
Hilltop.
Thank you all.
Woo!
It's now our job to continue this conversation.